Hello, Tim here. I hope you're good. So this is a vlog about Sloe, which is the reverb for sloths, which you can download for free in exchange for your email address. So in this vlog, I'm going to talk about how to get it working. I'm going to talk about some of the features, a hidden feature, and then I'll go on to say a little bit about how I made it and why I made it, and then a bit about how reverb works in general. So first things first, I owe you an apology because the file that you downloaded accidentally had the input disabled. So if you've been trying to run it as a plugin, you might have been very confused, and I'm really, really sorry. That was a proper mistake. Anyway, it's very easy to sort out because up here in the top corner of Reactor, you've got an input meter and an output meter. And you'll notice that this guy here is right down at the bottom. So all you need to do is double click like that, and then you can hear the input loud and clear. Hidden feature. So basically the hidden feature of Sloe is that it's actually an instrument as well as an effect, because this sample player here, you can trigger it from the panel like that, but you can also trigger it from a MIDI input, so a keyboard, or I've got a launch pad here, so and it's super easy just to drag and drop samples. You just drop samples on here, and you can very quickly try stuff out and get some cool slothy reverb going. The knobs. So we've got length. Length is, well, it's just the length of all the delay lines that make up the reverb. So you've got probably, I can't actually remember, about 16 or so delay lines that make up the reverb. And this is just the global length of all of them. So as you turn the length up, they get shorter. So on the higher setting, you can hear they just decay away really quickly. And then on the lower setting, well, they just go on forever. Feedback, that also affects the length of the reverb or the decay. And it just basically at the end of the reverb network of filters, you've got another delay line that then feeds it all back into the reverb. So it kind of like re-diffuses it. But with high feedback, obviously, even if you've got really short delay lines, it goes on for a long time. Diffusion. Now, I'll talk about this a bit more later, actually, because I'm going to go into how reverbs actually work, and the diffuser delay is the key component that behind all reverbs. Like all reverbs in the world, well, apart from like convolution ones, but let's forget about that, have used diffusion delays. But basically, it basically affects how much each delay line scatters the sound. So with diffusion down to 0, it's just a delay line. And you can also hear the delay line breaking up a bit there, but I'll also speak about that later. And then when the diffusion goes up, you can basically hear it turning from a delay into a reverb. And it's just a scattering of the sound that you're turning up with diffusion. Damping is basically in each diffuser delay, you've got a little high shelf EQ that just knocks a tiny fraction of the high frequencies off. But when this is repeated over all the different diffuser delays, then you get basically it's the same effect as if you stick a bunch of like egg cups on your walls or acoustic foam or stuff like that, because it absorbs the higher frequencies but lets the lower frequencies go through. So you can hear this damping effect. So the high frequencies disappear. So you can hear that like the clickiness of the kick disappears a bit. And then when you diffuse it a bit, it becomes even more obvious. And then without damping, let's just let that. Without damping, you can hear the high frequencies just keep on rolling. And mix is pretty much obvious. That's with the mix completely dry, all you've got is the input, and with mix completely wet, all you've got is the reverb. So it's quite nice if you're really wanting to just create pure pads. It's really great for that. So you can hardly hear anything of the original thing, and then it just kind of like swells up in the background like some kind of baddie is coming. Sloe actually started life on a long-haul flight back from Beijing a few months ago. And I was coming back from Beijing. I've been working on this project with IBM, where I was going round to their data centers, sampling sounds on a portable recorder, and then feeding it into my Flow Machine instrument, which is my kind of live sampling, live improv machine, and making a track out of them. But as another part of the project, they wanted me to come up with some algorithms that would kind of demonstrate or kind of symbolize how certain of their processes worked, if you see what I mean. So for this one, they wanted me to model. They work with this company called Kinetica, which do lots of like massive real-time data analytics. So basically, they take like huge amounts of data and process them all at the same time. And what I wanted to do with this reverb algorithm that then became Sloe was to really represent the transition from like one single event and sort of hearing that spawn thousands and thousands of times until you actually kind of like experience just the sort of sonic imprint of the sound. You don't really even hear the individual sounds. You just hear their kind of the sort of trend, like the spectral trend of the sound or something like that. So I made this algorithm, and then I slowed it down because I wanted you to hear the little just hear that first click or whatever, and actually hear the sounds actually building up. Because usually, like fast reverb, you don't hear that. All you hear is just this like. So yeah, that's how it started out, and then I was just like, well, this is pretty cool. So I put a bit of a skin on it, and tweaked some things and tried to make it work nice, etc. And now you got Sloe. Reverb 101. Okay, so this is a very quick run through of roughly how reverb works. So I'm going to dive inside the ensemble now. I'm going to double click on here. And this is the structure underneath. So here I've got inside this Cheap Master core cell, I've got the various diffuser delays. So inside here, I've got two groups of diffuser delays, one here and one here, and they're basically identical with some parameter offsets, basically. So they're similar but not quite the same, because if they were the same, then you'd get build-ups of frequencies, basically. So it would sound. It would make the reverb. It would give the reverb a certain kind of frequency imprint, because what you really want with reverb is to diffuse things, so none of the frequencies build up, and you get this kind of like horrible clangy sound. So this is basically a series of diffuser delays in series. So it's one diffuser delay feeding into another diffuser delay, into another diffuser delay, etc., etc., until it comes out at the end. And then you've got another final delay, which is a feedback delay, which then crosses into the other set of diffusers. And then they keep on swapping over like that. So they feedback. Basically, you just get this like constant diffusion of diffusion of diffusion of diffusion. And this is how it sounds. Just turn the diffusion up. So I've also here, beside here, I've very quickly hacked together a single diffuser delay module. So instead of going through all of these diffuser delays, I'm just using the first one here, and that's going straight to the output. So you can hear just one single diffuser delay. So I'll plug that into the outputs and take the diffusion down, and all you hear, you just hear one single impulse. That's all you hear. And as you turn the diffusion up, it's basically just a very short delay line with lots of feedback. So you're just bringing up the feedback on that delay line. And it's diffusing the energy of that single impulse. And basically when you put a whole bunch of those together with well thought out differences in the delay time, if you like, then you get this huge reverb diffusion effect, basically. And that's how reverb works, pretty much. Okay, so that's just about enough for now. I think. I hope I've been useful in the things I've said. Anything else? Any questions or interesting points, feedback, etc., etc.? Then do find me on the internet. I'm at Twitter at TimExile. I'm on Facebook at TimExileOfficial. I'm on the YouTubes as TimExile, the Gmails, and I'm on all the places basically. So just hit me up. And there's a whole bunch of stuff in the pipeline as well. So I'm quite excited about all of that. So looking forward to spreading the love. Cool. I'll be seeing you soon. Take care.